Pineapple says another Kiev camera just went down. And he warned me that the music was going to start. We didn't even see that. Yeah, so stand by, guys. We are trying to get another another Kiev cam up for you. Thank you to Andrew for the support, man. Means a lot. I'll toss you that rank here. Yeah, we really need another view of the square or just another view of Kiev to put up in the bottom left there. So I'm currently looking for that. Once again, guys, stand by while I get that slow mode for you. Just 1 second. So slow mode should now be turned on, guys. So we got that taken care of. Still getting everybody pouring back in here from the other stream. For everybody that doesn't know, we got disconnected there. Not only have a bunch of our cameras been going down over the past hour now, but we're also noticing internet outages here locally. That could be related, possibly. We were showing that map earlier of internet outages that are currently happening worldwide. There's speculation that there could be some DNS infrastructure that is currently having some issues. Somebody said copyright strike. No, we haven't had any copyright strikes. Thank God, not yet. Yep, 4-minute slow mode because it's the only way to keep chat usable. IT guy, thank you so much for tuning in. Glad to have you. Somebody said, what are the confirmed casualties so far? We don't have those numbers at this time. Somebody said I did a search of any cameras in downtown. Every camera is out. Not one is connected. Yeah, so that goes in hand with what we've been seeing elsewhere. If somebody wants to just give me something I can throw up here in the bottom left for you guys, that would be... oh, here we go. This might work here. Okay, so here's our CNN hot mic audio. We'll keep that audio in the background for you guys. back to that quad cam here, make sure that's live. Yeah, if somebody wants to send me another cam to put down here, okay. Somebody just said they saw some saw some military movement in Severodonetsk, Luhansk Oblast. Okay, that's interesting. Here's a camera, though, from Kiev, sent to us by a Night Hunter. We'll take a look at that, see if that's worthwhile putting on screen. Somebody said, could we put up the Instagram feed of the guys trying to enter Kiev? Maybe we'll look into that later. Yeah, we don't want a multicam to put down there. We need, like, we just need another good shot. Okay, so that's that Luhansk cam. Okay, we'll try to put this up on, see if we can put this up on screen for you guys. Is this currently live, though? Guess we'll watch some of his stuff. Yeah, I don't feel like doing that right now. So if somebody maybe could send me like a live feed of that guy, if he has a live feed or something, we could take a look at that. Here's another. This cam has good quality of Kiev skylines plus CNN people's voices. Yeah, that's the Fox News cam. We still have that up. We still have that up in the middle of the screen there. Yeah, I still haven't updated my stream description yet. I'll do that in a second here. But thank you for that. Thank you for that update, Giotti. Here's one shows subway with audio. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Possibly Kiev. Okay, we'll keep tuned into this one. We'll see if somebody could confirm if this is Kiev or not. That'd be useful.
Как вам такой прецедент на победу? Какая-то нахуй самопальная ракета. И это все у нас возле работы, пацаны. А вот с нее движочек, походу.
Is it going out now?
That I can only country in spring.
Вот так вот началось утро, блядь. Еще плюс там вот за огородом грады стоят. Хуярят вовсю.
Direi che è un allarme generale per chi ancora non si fosse svegliato e non sapesse che questi giorni dormono poco.
сверкает, сверкает.
Пиздец, все.
All right, guys. So yeah, for anybody that's wondering, we are currently monitoring the situation around Kiev. Basically all of our cameras have gone dead around Kiev. We still have this one feed coming from Fox. We're not sure. There's no audio coming from it at this time. If anybody has any Kiev feeds, the ones you guys have sent me, most of them I've vetted some of them. You guys weren't sure if it was Kiev. Most of those weren't. We're still looking for another Kiev feed to put up on screen for you guys. Lower left is not Kiev. That's the camera we were looking at earlier, so I just want to be clear on that. We're pretty sure the cam you're seeing in the lower right is currently from Kiev. However, they're playing like some news videos in the lower left, or sorry, lower right. So you might occasionally hear some audio from that. Somebody says YouTube trending has one with audio from Kiev. Somebody could PM me that so I could get that up on screen for you guys. Just make sure it's not one that we already have on screen here before you send it over my way. To everybody that's asking for sources and stuff and wants to like send me stuff, there's a link in the description below for the Discord server, okay? That's where we're exchanging all of these sources and stuff, so if you guys have any camera angles or anything you want to send over my way, that's the place to do it. Yeah, down left is Gorodok, Lviv. It's not Kiev, just so everybody is clear on that. So he says, please remove slow mode. It's impossible to carry on conversation. Trust me, it would be way worse if slow mode was off, okay? If slow mode was off, you wouldn't be able to have any sort of meaningful conversation. At least we can, you know, have some kind of exchange of information here. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to keep slow mode on. Maybe at a later time, maybe we can reduce that time. Russian high-frequency radio traffic is very active, so is Chinese. Fortunately, it's all in a digital format. Thank you for that that tidbit, AlphaNet Designs. Oh, there's a KGB pigeon there. We do have one live Kiev stream right in the middle of the stream, guys. You see that there. The audio you're hearing is from this video coming in the lower left. Again, thank you for everybody that is for your kind words and everybody that's continuing to tune in here and stick it out. We're losing a lot of feeds out of Kiev. We're having a lot of sporadic information coming out of Kiev.
여러분 안녕하십니까? 러시아가 우크라이나를
I'm going to go ahead and I'm
침공한 지
going to kill
하루
that
만에
audio on that cam. So Green Mountain Boy sends over this this camera here. It's a quad cam, just barely lost sound. We'll take a look at that. I believe this is the same one we have. Yeah, I believe we already have this one open actually. Let me get over to that. Hold on. Is the hot mic still live? So we still have audio coming in from our CNN hot mic. I guess I could put that up on screen for you guys. That might still be in and around the square, so if we can hear any shelling coming from Kiev, we'll probably be able to hear it through that. Yeah, I'll take the edge off that audio for you guys there.
정밀 타격해 무력화했다고 주장했습니다. 러시아 정규군 수가 우크라이나 군의
I believe this is a so I believe we do have this confirmed.
Ми вже видаємо зброю.
Danny M with a really good tidbit. He says, to use slow mode, change the way you post. Fill the entire 200 characters, think about your statements and intentions, make your post to the point. You will make more meaningful contributions that way. Thank you so much, Danny M, for that useful piece of advice to people in the YouTube live chat. Don says, alleged 80% to forces surrounding Kiev. Yeah, we've heard reports that they are to the west, northwest of the city, actually, at this time. Somebody said, I thought CNN packed up and fled. Yeah, that audio coming from the CNN cam could be them, and it could be from a car. It does sound like it might be coming from a car. If you guys want me to kill that audio, I can. Maybe if somebody in the chat, if anybody is keeping an eye on, the CNN hot mic, if it starts to become active again, let me know and I'll put it back up on screen. Somebody says mute the bottom right and just keep the CNN hot mic. All right, we can get that back up on screen. It does sound like they are still on the roof, or maybe at a different location in Kiev.
Okay, jets.
You say jets?
I think.
We'll listen into what they have to say here.
No, it's a car. I've got you, yep.
Alex, I see you're right.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, can I spin it round and point it at the same shot?
Yeah, go for it. I'm just going to flick a couple of things around.
it was a little bit off. No. I mean, I believe it was I switched from the zebra on the viewfinder, but I can't see.
So I can tell the audio is coming from the square because of those familiar chimes we've been hearing for the past 3 days.
I don't know if it is real. It's zebra.
Yeah, I don't know, mate.
Somebody said the DW stream is back up. If it is, somebody link that over to me real quick, and I'll put that back up on screen for you guys, if you do have a live stream out of the Maiden Square. Yep, good morning for everybody tuning in Europe. Good morning to you all. Thank you for tuning in today. And we are currently tuning in to Kiev here, where you guys are hearing this audio coming from a CNN hot mic. Somebody's saying DW is down. Okay, thank you guys for that.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott, for tuning in. Again, thank you for everybody that's tuning in this morning. We are currently continuing to listen in on Kiev here. Somebody says when is Twitch going to be back up? We'll have that back up here shortly for you guys. We'll keep you posted on that. Somebody said one of the cameras they've geolocated to southwest Kiev. That's cool. That's cool. Which camera? If maybe you want to message me that information. Bottom left, he said, I think. Or no, that bottom left cam is not. That's not Kiev. No, that is. I believe that's near Lviv. That cam. Somebody said, wow, that CNN reporter has a strong exhale. Yeah, we've been listening to this hot mic now for 2 days.
Michael, I will get to the fighting coming from all directions in just a second, but we've just gotten word about the most significant fighting that we have heard overnight, and that is in the western part of the city. Michael, for the first time, we did hear explosions within the city limits. That was a couple hours ago, and that has been of great concern because it is an indication that this fighting is getting closer and closer. Now, we've just heard from the military law enforcement service telling us that according to preliminary information, those explosions that we heard were Ukrainian forces targeting what they are calling a column of equipment of the occupiers. That includes 2 cars, 2 trucks that are full of ammunition, they said, and a tank. That is what the military is saying caused those explosions in the early hours of the morning. Now, as you noted, Michael, this fighting is continuing now on all sides of the capital, Kyiv. Significant battles, we are told, to the south and to the east. And then in addition to those explosions I mentioned that came from the west, we have also known for the past few days that the Russians have been pushing in from the north. That northern front has been relatively quiet. But all manner of fighting in the overnight hours, Michael. We heard explosions from different directions. We heard small arms fire, larger arms fire, some of those explosions lighting up the night sky, air raid sirens going off here in the capital, Kyiv. But there has been a lull for about the past hour. And all told, and it's still early, but it does appear that for now, that difficult night that President Zelensky had predicted may not have been as bad as so many had feared. It will be interesting to see how the Ukrainian forces fare against what is going to be an overwhelming Russian force. For now, it does appear that they are putting up a pretty good fight. President Zelensky saying that hundreds of Russian troops have been killed. Of course, as you noted, there have also been losses on the Ukrainian side as well. This is, as some of my colleagues have said, it is a David and Goliath situation, but having spent a couple the past few weeks here, there is a lot of confidence in this Ukrainian military that has grown so much over the past 8 years since Crimea was illegally annexed back in 2014. But then again, Michael, increasingly worrying signs that the fight is quickly coming to the capital and from every direction. Michael.
Apologies to all of our headphone users. Again, apologies to all of our headphone users. What we just heard was our CNN very hot mic.
You know, just on the streets, for example, what's really jarring right now is that you have these, silence-piercing series of explosions and gunfire, but other than that, it is extremely quiet. I mean, the sun is coming up here as well as Lviv. You can hear the birds chirping, but it is incredibly quiet in the streets. No one is about, no cars. But of course, Michael, many people, not just in Kyiv, but across the country, are going to want to be fleeing, and they already are. The Ukrainian train service put on special trains on Friday to get people out of the capital. Their goal was around 10,000 people. You saw those scenes, those trains being mobbed. It is such a stark contrast to just a couple of days ago when so many Ukrainians, including the president, did not believe that a war was going to happen. Of course, that changed very quickly with this, with the realization that Russian troops are literally coming across the border. So you will have, of course, a lot of people who want to leave, but you're also going to have a lot of people who want to stay and fight. One of the results of that Russian invasion back in 2014, is this incredible growth of patriotism and national fervor that was born directly out of that Russian aggression. And so you have a lot of people from all walks of life, all ages, men and women, who are ready to take up arms against the Russians, and the Ukrainian military now willing to give out a gun essentially to anybody who asks for it. So this could be a long campaign to resist this Russian aggression. As one Ukrainian official told me a couple of weeks ago, you can expect every window to be shooting at the Russian aggressors, he said. Michael.
So it looks like our source out of the Maiden Square from DW is back up, so we're gonna get that back on screen for you guys. Give me one moment to get that on screen for you here over on the side, and then we'll switch back to that other cam. All right, so now we have Kiev back down here in the lower left. Is there audio coming through on that too? Yep, we got it ramped up to the max. The dial's set to 11. So we'll switch back over to our. Oh, okay. There's something on the screen there. There's a rope. Seems to be a rope of some kind hanging on the screen. I thought maybe for a second there was Russian special forces dropping in out of a helicopter down a rope. Not gonna lie, that's what I thought that was. Somebody says been watching all night and not one single shot fired as of yet. Yeah, we have heard quite a few shots, to put it lightly. We've been hearing exchanges of not only small arms fire, but large caliber fire, tank rounds, artillery in the distance. We've heard missile barrages and explosions throughout the night. So it's been a very eventful night out of Kiev, that is for sure. We've basically been glued to Kiev the entire night, just watching the activity. There's that rope again, or wire, something hanging from the building. At first, I thought it was Russians doing a rope drop out of a helicopter. So that's interesting. Our CNN hot mic is currently gone quiet. We'll keep listening into that, though, for any signs of activity. So somebody geolocated my middle camera, the one that is provided by Fox News, and it is facing due east. Okay, we had another cam last night that was faced due west. That went offline. Somebody says it's a flagpole rope slacking. No, that is not a flagpole rope. That looks like that would be a very thick flagpole rope. Move clock back to right side. Roger that. Moving clock back to right side. Clock has been positioned. Somebody says rope has been there all night long. Well, I hadn't noticed it, but thank you for that information. The rope is for Putin, says Burton. Yes, a lot of you are saying the rope has been there since last night, so that's good to know. Thank you for that. Another tidbit about the middle cam, guys, the one with the big golden towers you see there, that is positioned at the Diplomatic Academy facing St. Michael's Golden Domed Monastery. Thank you for that information and geolocation. More plates, fewer dates on Discord. Thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, somebody wants to switch to St. Javelin day mode. Okay, I'll do that. Give me one moment here. Switching to St. Javelin day mode. If I could find her. There we go. There she is. There is St. Javelin day mode. We're going to have to resize her. There. I could just add in another image and then cycle between them. I should probably do that later. Somebody says, please don't. It's too bright. It's awful. But it contrasts. All right, let's have an overall. Let's have a vote here in the YouTube chat, guys. Are we having dark mode or daytime mode? All right, dark mode St. Javelin or daytime mode St. Javelin. Let's just decide that definitively, right here now, and go. I could see the chat is definitely pro dark mode, so I guess the pro dark mode crowd wins. Yeah, it is unanimously dark mode. Thank you guys for that input, every single one of you. You guys did your part today. Alrighty. Dark mode better for the eyes, everybody says. I'm sorry that one guy that wanted the St. Javelin to be daytime mode. Sorry, bud. It turned out you were the only one that wanted it to be light mode. People are still going in the chat. In fact, my restream chat is just like totally lagging behind the YouTube chat because of how many dark and day comments just came in. Thank you guys for that input, though. Much appreciated. Zach says, looks like the defenders held for another night. Indeed, they did. The flag of Ukraine still this morning flies over the city of Kiev. So that is indeed true. ViralPot says, yes, calm before the storm. And that is very true. We've been talking about it all night. We've seen like lulls of like 45 minutes to an hour, and then, you know, things heat up, and then, you know, nothing happens for an hour or two. So yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. Shout out to the Restream staff that are hitting me up right now. Thank you guys for reaching out. Yeah, but we have been temporarily suspended from Twitch. I already reached out to Twitch earlier. They got back to me. And they will be lifting that suspension here shortly. So, yeah, stand by for that. But thank you, Yulana from Restream, for reaching out to me just now. So, guys, the current situation is we are keeping an eye above Kiev right now. I believe I might have just... oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I might have just heard that we might be getting another cam up here, guys. So, stand by for that. I might have a better cam out of Kiev for you. Just let me take a look at that really quick. Also, we are hearing, yeah, I think I'm hearing some explosions, either that or wind coming out of Kiev. Paranormal says, I hear sirens in the background. Yeah, I think I heard the faint sound of air raid in the background as well. I could be wrong, though. We're going to keep an eye on that. Yeah, to everybody watching, make sure to choose 1080p if your internet connection can handle it, because it'll make looking at this stuff on screen a lot easier. In the coming days, I'm going to be redoing my stream settings. I was running them a little bit lower over the past couple days than I actually need to. So I'm going to be bumping up the bit rate and the resolution quality here. I'll probably do that at some point tomorrow. And also, we're coming to you in 30 frames per second right now, I'm pretty sure, but I was also planning on bumping that frame rate up to 60, because usually I stream is 60 frames a second. Apparently RT is live right now. Maybe that might be worth looking into. I think they're currently live over on their channel. I heard they were taken down earlier, actually. Anonymous targeted their websites from what we heard, and they were offline. I'm hearing some coughing in the back from our live Mac, or sorry, our live mic. Yeah, definitely hearing some. Oh, that is our CNN guy, because we've been hearing him cough for like 2 days now. That's right. Remember, we were trying to get him a cough drop the other night. So some people were asking if we possibly will go live on some other platforms. Yeah, I could possibly start streaming simultaneously to a couple other platforms. We might look into doing that later. Shout out to Certified, thank you very much, man, and I'm glad you liked the dark mode. It seems everybody unanimously liked dark mode. HT Spencer says, I would like to register my formal support for light mode, but understand the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I respect that, HT. Thank you for that. Somebody said, I'd never forget the light mode riots of 5 minutes ago. Yep. So once again, guys, we are just kind of in a quiet, kind of a quiet patch here in Kiev. Thankfully for the Ukrainians, they get to wake up and move about their morning in peace, at least so far. We were hearing some sporadic small arms fire a short while ago, but so far it's been pretty silent here. A lot of people saying calm before the storm. Yeah, most likely. Born Evil, thank you so much for that, for those kind words. Somebody says, get the CNN guy in quarantine now. Yeah, we've heard him coughing. We've been watching this CNN hot mic now for almost 2 days. And you know, he's been coughing up a storm. Somebody says there's been photos of RT2PM carrying an ICBM with a Z painted on it. I don't know if it's real or not. I would suspect it probably is. The reason is because if they're going to use any type of ballistic missile system, all right, they need to have it in place. Okay, so I wouldn't put it past the Kremlin of already having those assets in place. Now, are they going to use them? That's a whole different question. So it's good to hear that we do still have good audio coming out of Kiev. You guys hear the bells there, that chime. Somebody said, how do you go from fireworks to streaming Ukraine? That's a good question. Somebody says, I wonder if this is typical activity levels for 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday there. No, this is not typical activity. If you were watching the stream 5 days ago, you would see a clear difference. One Man Right says there's a new Boeing RC-135V recon currently up over Romania. I don't know if you had noticed that or not. No, actually, we haven't been keeping an eye on the flight radar. We'll probably take a look at that here shortly. Chip, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for those words there. Some people said, what became of those tanks that were en route to Kherson yesterday? Yeah, we had been planning to go over some of that, but we have gotten totally glued to Kiev overnight here. We believe that fighting is still ongoing in Kherson currently. A lot of those tanks, a lot of those servicemen that you saw heading towards the city of Kherson are most likely engaged in combat at this time in that area. Central Intelligence Agency posts in the chat, says the U.S. Congress has approved for sending troops to Ukraine. After repelling Russia, it declared war on Russia and carried out Putin's beheading plan. Weapons have been transported to Ukraine. Yeah, I would be running for the bunker if that news was indeed true. Somebody said Nemeko should probably get a new watermark up in case the stream gets stolen again. We do. It's in the top left there. You can see that on stream. But thank you for your concern and continued support, Bruce. Somebody said, so I'm guessing his camera just died. He had a great view. So a lot of cameras have died overnight. We've been juggling cameras all night. That's why hardly any of our cameras are labeled, is because we've been swapping them around for hours now. Somebody says, show the Ukrainian Molotov brigades engaging Russian mechanized. I'm posting the link in Situation Room. If it is a YouTube link, yeah, we can get that up on screen here. Oh, somebody sent over a nice compromise for the Saint Javelin for those of you that are in between on the dark mode and light mode. Driveways made us this this here. We actually had another one earlier that somebody had done that was really good too. But maybe if we should put that one up, let me know, guys, and I'll do that. I'm getting consistent dark modes out of you guys. Or yeah, I'm getting no's and yeses. I think we're just gonna stick with dark mode, you guys. Come on, we'll just stick with dark mode. Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of consistent dark mode here. We're also seeing some. Geez, guys, it's a 50% mixed crowd here. Yeah, we'll just keep the dark mode on. I'm seeing. I think I'm seeing majority dark mode there. All right, so somebody want to send me the Molotov footage? Try to keep it to a YouTube link, though, please. Somebody said the Molotov footage is actually old. I'm hearing the Molotov footage is actually old. Yeah, it's from 2014. Yeah, so we're not going to put that Molotov footage up. It does look like that footage is old. I'm getting this from a bunch of people, not only in live chat, but in Discord too. And some people have sent me some proof that it is from 2014. It looks pretty convincing to me. Okay, let's take a look at this post here from the Daily Mail, guys. Yeah, let's take a look at this post from the Daily Mail. Ukraine says it has inflicted one of Russia's heaviest ever day of losses, with more than 1,000 casualties. Putin's losses now stand at 2,800 troops, 80 tanks, and 516 armored vehicles. Let's just take a moment, guys, to kind of have a moment of silence here, and just kind of a thought for not only all of the dead and wounded in Ukraine, but I mean, this is 2,800 young men that are going to go home in body bags to their families. Okay, Putin needs to. I think he should be thinking long and hard about that. Yeah, 2,800. 8 tanks, 516 armored vehicles. A lot of these are those Soviet hardware that we were talking about, guys. The first to go in and mop up all these Javelin and all their resources. 10 airplanes and 7 helicopters. Russian officials have made similar claims that Moscow has captured more than 160 troops, destroyed 74 Ukrainian military ground facilities, downed 5 fighter jets and 1 helicopter, and destroyed 18 tanks and other armored vehicles. Yeah, so somebody was mentioning the mobile crematoriums instead of body bags. Yeah, so I've heard conflicting reports about the mobile crematorium story, but up till 24 hours ago, I was pretty convinced that that was verified. If somebody can maybe confirm for me if that's a real thing, that'd be pretty stark development indeed. Yeah, so after NATO and U.S. confirmed they would not put boots on the ground, is far inferior to its Russian counterpart with an air defense system and air force dating back to the Soviet era. Sorry. If you expect Ukraine to emerge victorious from what is almost certain to be a prolonged, bloody, and vicious war, but so far Kiev's forces have managed to inflict heavy losses on Putin. Yeah, and they definitely, this has been a slower advance into Ukraine than I thought it was. My initial speculations was this was going to be like a 12 to 24 hour, and they were going to sweep right in with Spetsnaz right into the Kiev and it was going to be over with minimal civilian casualties. I honestly didn't think Putin would go as far as the extent he's taken things to. I thought, you know, if he did try anything, it would be more surgical than this. I had hoped that it would be, you know, for the sake of, you know, civilians and the collateral damage that is happening here. I really think that, you know, he's, I don't know, I think he's kind of lost it a little bit, but that's just my personal speculation. I'm not really sure what to think about that, and we have all of this situation going on with Turkey, Finland, and Sweden, and possibility that this is like already turning into a regional conflict, and at that point, guys, it's officially World War III. As soon as Turkey and Finland and Sweden start to get involved militarily, things are, you know, going downhill really fast. Somebody says the invasion of Iraq was flawless. And it didn't take weeks. I don't think it was flawless, but I think it was definitely more well-planned than this. I think Putin definitely has a plan here, but so far I don't think it's going his way. Yeah, so, and I've also heard this theory. Useless Bob says a theory is that Putin is dying and wants to go out with a good legacy. Well, I don't think this is going to leave him a good legacy. It'll leave him a legacy, but not a good one. Somebody says Turkey's joining. Well, see, a Turkish tanker got hit by the Russians about 24 hours ago, I think maybe, give or take. Don't quote me on that. But so far, yeah, somebody said Turkey's already inside. I don't know if they are actually or not, but there's a possibility of them getting involved. We've also heard, you know, sporadic reports of Finland talking about getting involved on the ground there, Sweden talking about getting involved there. I'm sure the U.S. and the other allies are you know, trying to keep everybody kind of calm here and from, you know, jumping in on things. Somebody says, any airstrikes in the last 24 hours? No, but there was a large amount of fighting on the outskirts of the city. We thought maybe a munitions depot had gotten hit because there was a large quantity of explosions happening over there, and it just kind of sounded like, you know, a munitions stockpile had gotten hit, possibly. Somebody says light mode. Attorneys want to recount. Yeah, so Sweden and Finland, yeah, are not in NATO. Somebody said if Turkey is getting involved, NATO is getting involved. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure as to which of those countries are NATO countries or if any of them are, but yeah, I have heard unconfirmed reports. We don't know for sure yet that you know, they've begun to think about that, and that possibly it, you know, it. Yeah, so somebody said Finland was discussing their change in wanting to move faster to NATO membership. Somebody said Turkey already downed a Russian jet before, and they couldn't do anything. Interesting. Somebody says Turkey is in NATO. Yeah. So yeah. So with Turkey, sorry, with Turkey being a NATO country, this wouldn't that be Article 5 then? If so, Article 5 only counts when they are attacked. If Turkey decides to attack now, NATO doesn't have to do anything. I see. Okay, but wouldn't the tanker getting hit count? Or yeah, wouldn't the tanker getting hit count as an Article 5 thing, or does that not count? Viral Pot says Slava Ukraina. Love from Romania. Thank you for tuning in so much, man. Somebody said I heard Turkey back down. Am I wrong? Yeah, I still don't have any concrete information on that at this time. Probably look into that. Yeah, I mean, we have heard a lot of NATO troop movements. You know, there are pieces. NATO has pieces on the board. They are moving into place in case something were to happen. So apparently to invoke Article 5, they would need to invade a NATO country, right? Okay. So, yeah, more reports, guys, that we've had over the past couple hours of people seeing Russians taking down CCTV cameras. Last night, we watched that happen live, actually. We were watching that convoy of Russian tanks and armored vehicles, and shortly after, we were watching them for hours. In fact, we had begun en masse reporting their movements to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and other sources, and just coincidentally, a couple hours later, they decide to all of a sudden take down all of the cameras along that section of highway. So that was pretty interesting. Smilden, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but he sends over a very interesting map of current Russian troop movements into the country, and just kind of shows the kind of how far their invasion has gone into the country so far. So you notice from the east here, there's conflict breaking out there. They're moving in from the north here and here and here. So yeah, I bet like a lot of the conflict is happening, you know, borders. Hearing somebody speaking Russian there, and see how they've swept down through the exclusion zone, guys. I was talking about that for days now. How they would sweep down through the exclusion zone. That's the quickest route to the city. Everybody keeps asking, why would they be fighting over Chernobyl? It's because look how quick it is to the city there. Okay, it's just a short hop down and you're in Kiev. So that's why there's that. Smilodin, if you could post this in the Discord in the Situation Room or something like that, so that people that want that can get that information. So yeah, there's that map there. And I mean, there's fighting and airstrikes and stuff going on pretty far to the west. So that's interesting. Go back to our quad cam. We'll get that updated there. So here's some more of that footage from earlier that we were looking at. So yeah, just a graphic warning, guys. This is that same video we were watching earlier. These are some Russian saboteurs that tried to basically ambush Ukrainian, or they were ambushed by Ukrainian forces. Moments later, a tank basically just crushes a civilian vehicle. You could see that there. The guy survived, though. So just so everybody knows, the guy did survive. Why did he decide to do that? I do not know. I don't know how that Russian tank driver somehow thought that a civilian vehicle was a threat to him. Okay, so we're getting information in now that some Russians are looking to take down this camera that we've been watching all night. He said that they're down on the bottom here, staring up at it, and that they've seen the camera, that they're trying to get it down now. So he says that there's been Russians operating out of this area here all night in civilian clothing, meeting with Russian troops. He says, okay, so many of them have the same bag, just watched them do an exchange. He said all of the night was military operations. They were mostly in civilian clothing, as I said. There are suspected spies here, he says. So Zodiac has been tracking this camera all night. He's been keeping a close eye on it. We've seen military convoys coming in and out of this area here, speaking with these operators in civilian clothing. So he says, please show Rupley's live cam. Maybe if somebody wants to send that to me in the Discord real quick so I can get that on screen for you guys. So, Zodiac, let me know if anything interesting happens on that camera. Again, we'll go back over it. He said, oh, okay, so here's a... He said he also saw what he thinks is a kid wearing IR reflectives in the very same town. It's interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's go back to our quad cam. Actually, this is another shot. This is another shot we have out of Kiev. So, you know what? Actually, I might try to put this up on screen. We'll put this up. We'll put this over Kharkiv, I think. So you guys can have that up on screen.
하지만 우크라이나 정부는
Oh, we're hearing air raid sirens now. We're hearing air raid sirens over the city here, guys. Hold on, I'm going to switch back to that quad cam. Wherever it is. Is that in this? No, that's not in that. Yeah, so this is, yeah, so from the square right now, there is, in fact, air raid sirens going off, so we'll get eyes on that right now. That camera's obviously outdated. Let's get that out of there. All right, guys. Enigma says, take off the St. Javelin pick. It's a waste of camera space. No, it is not a waste of camera space, and we will not remove St. Javelin. That would be blasphemy.
Sorry about that, John.
Sounds like that's our CNN hot mic again.
I'm already talking. It's left now and I'm already talking as I want to go on the field. The night come back and look like
Yeah.
I think I need to be clear with
Pull that off. You can take your power strip as well.
yeah. I guess you want this one, no?
Yes, please. We'll take Will's 200 with us today as well.
Okay.
And give that back to him. That's the one that's out of the west.
Yeah.
We won't have enough transmission parts in it.
Exactly. Is it on your way?
It is at the moment. It's not.
Give me 2 seconds.
Shit.
We can go around the clock for months. Yeah, sure.
That's what they'll want, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, but if I meant to obey orders, I would join the army, right?
Yeah, exactly. Can't do people, got to do landscapes.
Can you see my hood? I'm just trying to.
No.
Yes, Jeff, I hear you fine. You hear those sirens? Yeah. Should I just keep talking if it goes off during the live shot? Oh, I definitely will. Sorry, I missed that. Who's in DC? Got it.
guys. What you are hearing, guys, that's the CNN hot mic. It's very hot. Okay, as you can tell, he has it in his mouth. He has this mic in his mouth at the moment. We're hearing air raid sirens above Kiev. It's possible that there's an airstrike that's about to occur in the city. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. Just keep in mind, guys, this is not my microphone. You're hearing that guy in the background is the CNN hot mic.
Yep, I got it.
Probably worth couching the fact that the sirens are like a regular thing now, right? Rather than depending of an imminent, like airstrike. Zelensky video 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
A Zelensky video 3 minutes ago, apparently. Well, somebody link me that. Somebody send that to me right now.
That's the east again. It really is, Michael, a flurry of developments and activity in the past few moments. Just before we came on the air, we heard those air raid sirens that you also heard in Lviv, but right here as the sun's coming up in Kyiv as well. Now, we have heard those throughout the evening, but it had been quite some time. Those air raid sirens ending just moments ago, and then again moments ago, some gunfire, loud gunfire coming from that direction. That is the east, where you also, as you also mentioned, we have heard about fighting in the suburbs of Kyiv. We have a very solid sense now that this fighting is really encircling the city, that the Russian troops are proceeding in their goal to make their way all the way around the city. But Michael, possibly the most significant fighting that we saw overnight was in the western part of the city, within the city limits. For the first time, we heard explosions within the city limits, just about 5 kilometers or just over 3 miles away. We believe that is near a military installation, and the Ukrainian military is saying that they were able to take out 2 cars, 2 trucks laden with ammunition, as well as a tank with an anti-tank missile. So that is what we believe those explosions to have been. So we had that fighting in the west as well as the east. Now, we've also been told that there is significant fighting in a town about 20 miles or 30 kilometers south of here as well. So when you add all those 3 orientations to the fact that we know the Russians have been coming in from the north, although that front has been relatively quiet all night, for much of the night, the encirclement of Kyiv is very much happening, Michael. There are Russian movements coming in from 3 different sides. From the north, and that is the biggest concern for Kyiv, those forces that can come in from Belarus, where they have been for the past few weeks. From the east, where President Putin has just recognized those 2 breakaway republics, and we also know that there are forces just across the border from the second biggest city of Kharkiv, and then from the south, where troops have been stationed in Crimea, and we know that there are ships both in the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. Michael?
All right, guys. That was the CNN incinerator mic, as we are calling it now, because it is extra hot. So we got a video from Zelensky. Does somebody have a translated version, though, guys? Because I don't have a translated version. I need a version in English. Can somebody send me the Zelensky video that just came out a few minutes ago? And somebody send me like a tweet of that Ministry of Defense warning that he was talking about there, so I can get that on screen for you guys now. I want to see what they're talking about there. Did they say that there's possibility for airstrikes or something on there? So yeah, to everybody so there was a couple people in the chat. Looked like they were having connectivity issues. The stream is still up. We are still live on YouTube. However, YouTube and Restream are under heavy load at this time, and if you guys are having issues, you might need to refresh your page. Yeah, the CNN mic is an incinerator mic currently. Very hot mic indeed. Somebody sent me what might be another live Kiev shot. We'll get an eye on that. Here's another live Kiev shot. Can somebody geolocate this shot for me? If so, I can get I want to make sure it's at least in Kiev. Okay, I'll put it up on screen for you guys right now. Just give me 1 second here. I'll put that up on screen. We'll put it over Sumy, or actually we'll put it over the Kharkiv shot. That's what we'll do. Okay, we'll take this up here. So this is apparently a shot out of Kiev, a fresh one that we have up this morning. So we'll keep an eye on this here. Come on, behave for me. There we go. All right. Okay, expand that out just a little bit. Okay, sorry guys again to your ears. Apologies to your ears and eardrums. That CNN, yeah, somebody said that CNN has a thermobaric mic. It's a very fitting explanation. Incinerator mic, yeah. Thermobaric mic. To everybody, I see a lot of people giving thank yous. Yep, thank you guys for tuning in again. Sorry again, it looked like some of you for a second might have been having some connection issues. Here, let's go back to that Kiev quad cam. Hold on, I have to get back here. Let's see. Let's go back to our Kiev quad cam. Okay, so we got that there. So he says check the Situation Room more often. Yeah, guys, I apologize to everybody that's been providing intel the Situation Room. Tonight we have not really had time to go through a lot of that stuff that's coming in, but we will. We will get it. We will get to that fairly shortly here. Zodiacs, thank you for that intel update. So he's continued to track the activity on that camera. Let's go back to that camera quick. Here, let's close that one. Here's a camera. He's been monitoring some suspicious activity that's been happening on this camera here. But every time he PMs me, I'm too late. I see it too late. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on that cam for sure. In fact, I could put it up on. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put it up on screen. We'll put it over Sumi, because we definitely like to see what's kind of going on in that camera, so we can keep an eye on it. Give me 1 second, guys, while I get that on screen for you. Yeah, again, if any of you sent me that Zelensky video, I'll get that up on screen. Just give me 1 moment. Just trying to get these cameras up for you guys. So we have that camera there where that suspicious activity was ongoing, so we'll keep an eye on that. However, I need to. We're gonna mute that because we want just the audio coming out of Kiev, so we can listen for evidence of airstrikes incoming. Where's that quad cam? I believe that's back in there. Yeah. There we go. There it is. Oh, somebody had a. Somebody said he just has the mic close to his mouth. Something about fitting into his flak jacket, I suspect. So somebody, I see a couple people here have translated the Zelensky video. He says there's a lot of fake information online that I call on our army to lay down arms and that there's evacuation. He said, I am here. We won't lay down arms. We will defend our state. So those words from President Zelensky a short time ago. Thank you, Kazuto, for sending me this camera. Yeah, this doesn't look to be in Kiev. Yeah, this is definitely not in Kiev. Kiev is not snowing, so that cam won't work. So here's a translation here, guys, directly from that Twitter video. Somebody did a direct translation. Yeah, there's a lot of fake info telling that I ordered the Ukrainian army to surrender. So listen here. I'm not putting our weapons down. We are going to protect our country. Our weapons are our truth. It's our country, our children, and we will protect them. So yeah, some very stark words there from the president of Ukraine. Somebody says, can I put the time over the tweets? Let's actually see if I can do that. I'll take a look at that now and see if I can maybe do that. There are those chimes again that we've been hearing quite often. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it does give me the option to show the timestamp on the tweets. These are just all coming in. Basically, it's a real-time stream of tweets. Anything with the words Ukraine, Donetsk, Luhansk, and Russia. So it's basically the tweets that are coming there. So yeah, there is some junk tweets in there, of course, as is the nature of Twitter. So again, guys, back into one of these lulls of silence in Ukraine again, after hearing those airstrikes just now. So look, the sun is coming out, you guys, over Ukraine. You can see in all 4 of our Kiev cameras we have screen. Actually, we have 5. We have this cam, this cam, this cam, this cam, and this cam, all in Kiev. I believe this is Lviv. This is somewhere near Lviv as well. Zodiac sent over some images of these people like carrying out all of the same bags. He's been watching this all night. He's convinced that there's some suspicious activity going on here on our top right cam there. They've been coming in and out of this building all night with bags, he says, and there's been exchanges with Russian military in uniform. So they're not exactly sure what that's all about. So this is an interesting post. However, it says it was revealed women in Ukraine saw Russian soldiers approaching due to Tinder's location tracking, showing their dating profiles as they got closer. U.S. tech companies have software everywhere, including Russian phones. Silicon Valley could be a massive asset to Ukraine. I agree. But that's a very, very interesting tidbit of information there. However, unconfirmed, guys, so keep that in mind. A lot of the stuff that I'm feeding you in real time, guys, is I'm feeding you stuff and in a fast pace. You got to keep in mind that a lot of it may be unconfirmed or unverified. It's usually not until a few days go by that we finally, you know, kind of get concrete evidence of what exactly has taken place. We still don't even have official reports. It's still kind of you know, not clear as to whether that plane that was shot down over Kiev the other day was a Ukrainian Su-24 or if it was a Russian plane or a ballistic missile. There's so many different reports coming out. I believe it now actually has been confirmed that it was an Su-24, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody saying check out the Radio Intercept Discord. Yeah, I think we'll take a look at basically everything that is going on in the Discord channel, see what our intel analysts are working on over there. Somebody said that new Kiev camera we just put up, possibly geolocated on Oblon district. He even gave me some coordinates there. Zodiac said the exchange only started happening when air raid sirens went off. That's interesting. Okay, so first we'll take a look at the Radio Intercept channel, see what our radio guys are working on right now. Give me a second here to scroll down here and get to the latest and greatest. So our guys in the Radio Intercept channel look like they are listening in on Ukrainian and Russian troop engagements. So we're saying jump, multiple flares used. As somebody saying S-42nd is support, most likely armored and such. 75th Air Squadron is Russian fighter squad that is deployed. I'm guessing they are going over Kiev. So somebody's saying, okay, now we have a picture of what's happening. Can somebody give me somebody maybe from the Radio Intercept channel, if they want to like PM me a brief summary of what you guys are deducing from this radio chatter? so that I could, so we can condense that down and get that out here to the people. So apparently a cargo ship owned by a Japanese firm has been hit by a missile off the coast of Ukraine in the Black Sea. Local media reported Saturday, according to the Japanese news agency Kyodo, one of the crew members of 20 Philippines nationals were injured in a Panamanian-registered cargo ship, the Namura Queen. Not really concrete on if that's confirmed yet. We're getting, so that looks like Reuters, Japan Times, and Kyoto are reporting on this, so that could have some validity to it. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, if somebody from the Radio Intercept channel wants to kind of PM me with kind of a brief summary of what you guys are finding on those radio communications, let me know so I can relay that to our audience. Snow Taco says, I welcome the silence. I have been super stressed out over all this. Haven't got much sleep the past few days. Same here. Glad you're still tuning in. Putin's yacht currently located in the Black Sea, south of Odessa. So that's an interesting find there. So it abruptly left Germany and somehow has ended up down in the Black Sea. So I heard somebody just say in the live chat that in the top left of one of those buildings that got hit. Yeah, that is near I believe that's near the apartment block that got hit by the downed Su-24, if I'm not mistaken. And we've showed pictures and footage of that from the other night. Zodiac's, he said he's been seeing EMS on standby all day, no police. He's also been watching. They have a whole bunch of school buses lined up. That could just be for maybe school children or something. Grim Nips gives me a little bit of a brief summary here. He says possible bombers and paratrooper units headed towards Kiev, 15 kilometers out of Kiev. Not clear if they are currently moving towards the city, like at this time, or if they are like stationary and planning on moving towards the city, or if they are currently in fact moving towards the city. If somebody from the Radio Intercept channel maybe has some more information there. More plates, fewer dates. Reminds me, unimportant, but Reuters is pronounced Reuters. I know, guys. I lack some key pronunciation skills here. So just bear with me on that. So I have done with this little bit of information here. He said unconfirmed, but says Russian forces have taken control of a hydroelectric power station in Kiev, according to a Russian media outlet. It writes the Russian news agency Interfax, according to Reuters. So we'll keep an eye on that development as well as that unfolds. I'm going to go take a look into our situation room here, guys, and we will take a look at some stuff. So Homer 61 is in the air, RC-135V. That's an RC-135. Okay, interesting. So let's take a look at that real quick, guys. Forte 11 is still over the Black Sea. What a trooper. Our Global Hawk has been up there literally all night. Let's go ahead here. Let's take a look at... okay, so is that not... It's not in the air then? So it's just these strato tankers? Yeah, I'm not seeing Homer 61 in the air at this time. Wait, that was... hold on, I gotta get closer to the present here. So Patrick Lancaster has a new video. We could take a look at that a little later to see what's going on in the east of Ukraine from his perspective, from the Russian perspective there. But I think we'll kind of continue looking at... oh, hey, so you guys, last night when we reported on the invading Russian troops disabling cameras, look what made it to the Associated Press, guys. Would you look at this? This was our reporting, guys, last night. We were our teams, our intel analysts were the ones to report on these, and we were reporting Russian movements all night to the Ukrainians and other sources via these cameras here. And what do we see? Just a few minutes later, we see them taking the cameras down. Well, not a few minutes later. We was before they finally caught on to what we were doing. But guys, right here, this is proof of just you know, like our capabilities here. Yeah, the Russians definitely didn't like that. We were doing a little bit of spying on them. According to Vessel Fighter, Graceful is on a northeasterly course headed toward southern Ukraine. Oh, Graceful is the yacht, Putin's super yacht. This is a map that Dulon sends over from the Discord. Thank you very much for that, Dulon. Scotty says, excuse me, how do I get a link to the Discord server? It won't load for me. Appreciate it if you have a working link. You can find a link in the YouTube description. That is a working link. If it's not working, that probably means you have been banned. You might need to copy and paste the link from the YouTube description. I've heard people complaining of that. Yeah, you might need to copy it. Sometimes it can be finicky. Host fsb.gov.ru, connection timed out, no servers could be reached. Darkness reports on some interesting activity. Appears some Russian government-related authoritative name servers are not responding to DNS queries from outside the world. That is definitely interesting. It could be maybe either cyber attacks ongoing. It could be that maybe Russia has maybe taken access outside of the country down. That maybe they want to limit what their citizens are seeing right now. So here is Homer 61. I guess we'll take a look at that real quick. So Homer 61 is in the air. Okay, yeah, it's right over Romania. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on this RC-135. That's an interesting interesting bit of information. Anastasia comes over from the Radio Channel. She gives me some a little bit of summary here. Says it sounds like there's someone 10 kilometers away. There's speculation that it is the convoy of 100 Russian vehicles approaching Kiev. There's more talk on some heated iodine. That is suspected to be bombs in preparation. We've also heard some directions for someone to jump, which may be conceived as the paratroopers, okay? So some interesting information there. Go back to our, and we'll close out of that one. Go back to our cam here. Make sure that's live for you guys. Grim Nips, who gave us the tidbit a few minutes ago about bombers and paratrooper units headed towards Kiev, 15K, I'm out. He said, I used to be in the Navy, so this is the only reason I know this info, but I saw a E-2C Hawkeye around Belarus and the Polish/Ukrainian border earlier today. Thank you, Grim Nips, for that bit of information. Waffle House Blues says first naval battle of the 21st century. Maybe we will see something like that soon. We hope that things de-escalate and don't further escalate. So these are pictures from what people were calling a missile hitting a building in Kiev, but no, this is this has been hit. I'm pretty sure this is the Su-24, the building that got hit by the Su-24 the other night, and or a cruise missile. So there was suspicion it was a cruise missile. There was people suspecting it was an Su-24. I still am getting all sorts of conflicting reports on that. Even the CNN guys, we were listening to them. They went from thinking it was a missile that had been intercepted from ground-to-air defense systems, or possibly that it was a Russian bomber plane that had been hit down. And then the next thing they were saying it was a Su-24, and then it was a cruise missile. So yeah, it's very, very conflicting information coming out of Kiev. Somebody said to me, Homer 61 is all it's doing is sniffing out radiation. That's all it does, sniffs the air. Is that true, guys? Is that can somebody give me some confirmation on that? Is it? I thought RC-135V was just for visual and electronic reconnaissance, or is this like a different aircraft? As I said, I'm not an expert on aircraft types here, so if somebody could give me some information on the RC-135V and its capabilities. Yeah, for those of you, we do have a duplicate cam when we are using the quad cam angle, but bear with us. Somebody's saying that's a different building. If you have some evidence of that, some sources, please send it over. I'll get those on screen so we can look at that. So here's the video from the scene of where the apartment got hit in Kiev. Oh, okay, so when was this? Was this yesterday then, or? Yeah, I didn't see this. Was there a video of this going down? Because if so, send it over. We'll get it on the screen here. Yeah, that's the same. That's the same footage there. Here's the videos of that. I need videos in link form, guys. MP4s won't work here. I need videos in link form. So if anybody has the video of that. So somebody's saying here RC-135s are special role planes for detecting radiation. Interesting. Somebody said that's minutes ago, about 10 minutes ago. We haven't heard any explosions on our cams from 10 minutes ago, so that doesn't really line up here. This cam is still live here. So yeah, all of our Kiev cams are still live. We're still listening into the audio. We haven't heard any explosions in and around Kiev. NW Scally 31 says, I highly doubt Russia sent 75% of the troops. That would have been a 2-minute battle. Exactly. We've been talking about this the past couple of days. The first troops they sent in were the eastern, from the rebel regions of the Donetsk and Luhansk republics. They basically did a call to arms for all men 18 to 60, asking for all of them to, go in and, they're being called up to fight. And we had gotten reports they were getting text messages saying if they tried to flee, they would be prosecuted. And those guys were basically, given a crash course, basic training crash course very quickly. They were given shabby gear. They were thrown on Soviet hardware. That's the reason why we're seeing all this old Soviet hardware, guys, is because the Russians have been pulling it out of warehouses for weeks and even months now. We've been watching the activity of them piling up this Soviet hardware. That was one of the indications why we knew they were going to move into Ukraine. Soviet hardware, this old hardware for no reason. Okay. And the reason they did that is because they're sending in expendable troops on expendable hardware to mop up all of the Ukrainian anti-tank defense systems, which have been provided by the U.S. So things like our St. Javelin, which we've been talking about so much. Kent are putting it. It's very unfortunate situation. That's why you guys are seeing all of the Russians that are killed right now. It's because they are all unexperienced soldiers. Okay, not all of them, but there are some large majorities of them that are conscripts and reservists and young men that have just been called to arms and they're being forced to fight. And those are the first that are being sent in. That's why we're seeing reports of them fleeing, throwing down their guns and fleeing the scene of conflicts and stuff. We've been hearing reports of that for 24, almost 48 hours now, of the Russians getting repelled at every other location in and around Ukraine, and the reason is because it's all just inexperienced soldiers using outdated equipment. As I said, they sent them in to mop up all of that anti-tank weaponry, which we've been talking about. Somebody said they found where the building is. Stand by for geolocation. Roger that. Thank you for that. More plates, fewer dates. So, some information from Dulon here. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that, guys. That was some audio from one of our cameras. Not sure what camera, but F's in chat for all of the dead eardrums now. RC-135V is used for intelligence gathering throughout the electromagnetic spectrum, radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays. They are likely tracking radio chatter as well as radiation. Roger that, Dulon. Thank you so much. That makes sense. Thank you very much, Grimnips, for the information. Keep up the good work, man. So AAF Cooper says, guy in orange, top right camera. My wife and I are noticing him walking back and forth quite a bit. And is he carrying bags several times? So yeah, guys, right back to the reporting we were having from one of our Intel analysts earlier. That one of our Intel analysts has been watching this camera here, guys, all night. And so no, the person in the orange there, that's in Ukraine. There's a lot of what we call babushka street sweepers. They're these old ladies that get up every morning, God bless their souls, and they go out and they sweep the streets and the sidewalks of Ukraine. It's also a common sight in Russia, I believe, but very common sight in and around Ukraine. But that's what you're seeing there. However, yeah, there's been a large amount of suspicious activity at this location over the past 24 hours that we've been keeping tabs on. This has also been a good cam to see some audio of air raid sirens. They were also speaking on the loudspeakers earlier. So yeah, the men you see in some of the black uniforms here are perceived to be Russian operatives. However, that is unconfirmed at this time. But yeah, we've been keeping close eye on that situation there. So IFTN says Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's spokesman Sergei Nikiforov announced on Saturday morning that Ukraine remains open to peace talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. We have agreed to the Russian president's proposal. During these hours, the parties consult on a place and time for negotiation process. The sooner the negotiations get underway, the greater the chance that we can soon return to normal life, writes Sergei from Twitter. On Friday, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Lavrov announced that the country is only willing to negotiate with the Ukraine if the Ukrainian army lays down its arms, and it has not happened yet. So I believe that that line of diplomatic reasoning is probably not going to happen. However, we will stay hopeful. So somebody, more plates, fewer dates, found a listing on a Russian real estate website, a Ukrainian real estate website. This building in our top left, far top left camera, guys, it is confirmed to be in Kiev, and the geolocation which we have on that is current. It's facing due east. The camera looks like. Somebody else had said it was facing west, but from what we understand, this building is, the camera at least is facing in an easterly direction. Here is that building here, and it is in the Oblonsky area in and around Kiev. All right. More plates, fewer dates says, I used Yandex reverse image search, which is a Russian website. Fun fact. Works better than Google's. Hey, well, using their own services against them. More plates, fewer dates. Good on you. Good on you. Thank you for keeping up the good work, and thank you for that reporting there. So here's that video from that building, you guys. It was hit this morning. However, you guys, this is unconfirmed, so keep that in mind. We have been keeping an eye on the residential buildings in and around Kiev this morning. It could be one of those buildings. It does look very similar. Somebody had said it had gotten hit by a missile. I would like us to get some more concrete information on this before we consider it confirmed. In one room, a camera recorded the explosion. Okay. Also, some confirmed footage, unconfirmed footage here, guys. Take this with a grain of salt. Somebody says this is footage from inside the building. So that's interesting there. Is there audio? Some stark images out of Kiev. To Colere, asking if there's anything you can do. If you head over to either the flight radar channel, the radio intercept channel, or even ask just in the general chat, I bet somebody can find something that you can help with. Here's some further reporting on that residential building being hit in Kiev. Here's some images of that. Again, that footage we just saw a few seconds ago. Artsy, thank you for that. Thank you for those kind words, and good luck. Some other cams.
Yeah, Micah and Cher, one consumer expert tells us tonight that the wild gyration in the U.S. stock market today was caused by initial panic and selling, followed by a calm and reserve, leading to the Dow turning right around and going up in a 900-point swing. Still, look at this. Gas prices here in California are some of the highest in the nation, and Americans could continue to feel shockwaves from that conflict overseas. The violence of the Russian invasion may be contained to Ukraine. However, the economic impacts will resound across the globe. Financial experts say the initial sting to the United States could include fuel prices and inflation. When the general price level rises, each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. In other words, purchasing power drops. Gas prices will probably climb even higher if the hostilities escalate or if U.S. lawmakers pass another round of sanctions, according to experts.
The sanctions right now are targeting Russian financial circles. So we're talking about banks, financial companies. Interestingly, they're also targeting some of the oligarchs, the billionaires who are believed to be part of Putin's inner circle. And the thinking there is that if they don't have access to their money overseas, if their assets are being seized by foreign governments, they're not going to be happy.
Back here, one gas station in Beverly Grove is charging more than $6 a gallon for all grades.
I just think that we're on the verge of a financial collapse potentially, and I think that the worse it gets with Russia, that the more prices are going to go up, you know, and it's not looking too good.
I've never seen a $6 price point in my life, so that's definitely super interesting and not the best way.
And then there's the ripple effect with rising fuel costs.
Transportation is a key element of the U.S. infrastructure for moving goods. So all of these products that we buy at Walmart and Target and other places, well, they're arriving by truck and train primarily. They require fuel to get here. As fuel costs go up, none of these companies are going to swallow that. They are going to pass those costs along to customers. Not right away, but I think in weeks ahead.
David Lazarus says this is not the time to start panic buying or hoarding, but rather a time to minimize debt and practice wise spending habits. Properly balance your household income with your expenses. In challenging times, just remember,
all of this is temporary.
However, experts say the impact on the Russian people could be far greater. Sanctions against Russia could lead to a recession and depression over there. And that means we're talking about closed banks and food lines and all kinds of problems in a worst-case scenario. Reporting live in Beverly Grove, I'm Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
Good afternoon. Good evening, rather. Secretary General will make some remarks. Please, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, thank you very much. The United Nations was born out of war to end war. Today, that objective was not achieved. But we must never give up. We must give peace another chance. Soldiers need to return to their barracks. Leaders need to turn to the path of dialogue and peace. Today, in Ukraine, despite growing operational challenges, the UN is scaling up the delivery of life-saving support, including in the eastern part of the country, on both sides of the line of control. Humanitarian needs are multiplying and spreading by the hour. Civilians are dying. At least 100,000 Ukrainians have already reportedly fled their homes, with many crossing into neighboring countries, underlining the regional nature of this growing crisis. To strengthen our response, I'm announcing today that I appointed Amin Awad as the UN Crisis Coordinator for Ukraine. Amin worked closely with me for a decade in UNHCR. He will lead the coordination of all our efforts, including our humanitarian response on both sides of the contact line. All concerned in this conflict must respect international humanitarian law and guarantee the safety and freedom of movements of UN staff and other humanitarians. Especially in a moment like this, it is important to remember that the UN is not just the chamber behind me. It is tens of thousands of women and men around the world, feeding the hungry, vaccinating children, promoting development, protecting civilians in peacekeeping operations, mediating conflicts, supporting refugees and migrants, advancing human rights, standing, delivering, extending a lifeline of hope. The United Nations Charter has been challenged in the past, but it has stood firm on the side of peace, security, development, justice, international law, and human rights. Time after time, when the international community has rallied together in solidarity, those values have prevailed. They will prevail independently of what happened today. We must do everything in our power so that they prevail in Ukraine, but they prevail for all humanity. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Secretary General, are you concerned about
All right, joining me now here on Live Now from Fox to further discuss the Russian invasion into Ukraine is former U.S. Special Representative for Ukraine, former U.S. Ambassador to NATO as well, Kurt Volker. Ambassador Volker, thanks for being with us. I wanted to get your reaction to President Biden's remarks today, issuing new punitive sanctions and consequences. In your view, are they adequate enough?
No, I think these are the measures that we should have done 2 months ago. If you remember, President Biden was asked, will these affect Putin's decision making, or will they affect Russia? Will ask me in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the point, that we should have done this a couple of months ago when we saw the buildup happening, to try to prevent it and to try to have impact on Russia today. And in addition, there were things excluded from this package. There were good things in the package, to be sure. Some of the banks mentioned, some of the financial impact mentioned, but there were also individuals left out. The energy sector was left out. The SWIFT financial transfer system was left out. And I appreciate that the administration is trying to coordinate all this with our European allies and act in unison. But in this case, I think we need to start thinking about leading more, because this is a dire circumstance. And I don't think we can settle for a situation where Russia takes over all of Ukraine, imposes its military forces there, and we're just applying sanctions.
Also, do you think the phased approach is working to our disadvantage? We were promised swift and severe sanctions. Kind of a shock and awe approach would be better in your view?
Yes, swift and severe sanctions would be good, and we still need them. Let's have that. Let's push the Europeans to do as much as possible. But I'm concerned that we are not doing anything currently to help the Ukrainian military. They are being attacked by Russia overnight, airstrikes, missile strikes, tank columns moving. They are fighting back valiantly, and they need more help. And so I would still like to see us proceeding with deliveries, with equipment, with ammunition, with trainers who could help the Ukrainians integrate this in whatever way we can do that. We need to be in a much more proactive position to help Ukraine defend itself. I think it's debatable whether we should have ruled out U.S. military forces being present in Ukraine to help them. But clearly the administration has ruled that out. But short of that, there's a lot more we can do.
What about something that is being floated right now about arming some type of Ukrainian opposition or rebellion? Would that make matters worse?
Yeah, let's not give in to defeatism and say that we're only going to fund a resistance. Let's try to help the Ukrainian government, Ukrainian military survive.
My question now for you is about NATO, of which you know a lot. Is NATO aligned right now? We've seen some disagreements, especially on the SWIFT international banking system. There's going to be yet another summit held tomorrow. Why another summit? It doesn't seem like these summits have produced any, meaningful impact other than, maybe symbolism. What are you thinking is going to happen tomorrow?
It's a great question, because summits are meant to be ways of showing, unity and resolve, that we are acting together. But when they come up short in terms of deliverables, then it starts to look a little hollow. And so I am confident that the diplomats there are talking to each other about what the deliverables will be. But so far, we haven't seen a sufficient level of action from ourselves, from our NATO allies, from the EU, to really treat Russia's invasion and aggression against Ukraine for what it is, and to do everything we can to reverse it. I remember when I was a young officer in the State Department, I was surprised but impressed by President George H.W. Bush after Iraq invaded Kuwait. And he simply came out and said, "This will not stand." And then he and James Baker went about assembling a global coalition to do everything possible that enabled them to remove Iraq from Kuwait. I think we're in a similar moment, a harder moment, because Russia has nuclear weapons. But we have to be viewing this with the same eyes, that this is unacceptable and we will not let this stand.
Those troops that were readied and on alert about a month ago will now be sent to Germany, about 7,000 of them, to shore up our NATO allies in the eastern flank. Does Putin want the Baltics? Does Putin want Poland? Is that what we should be looking for next?
Well, what he has asked for in his demands to NATO that were given in December is the demilitarization by NATO of presence in the Baltic states and in Poland. He wants everything rolled back to pre-1997 in terms of the military architecture in Europe. He claims falsely that NATO promised never to put military forces in the territory of new members. Not true, but now he wants that enforced by having NATO pull back military forces. So in this respect, I think what the administration is doing, sending forces to Poland, to Romania, and headquarters in Germany and other allies as well, like France or Germany or the UK, putting troops on the territory of these new NATO members is a tremendously important signal because it is explicitly rejecting what Putin is demanding.
You know, I wanted your opinion as well. Is it safe to say that U.S.-Russia relations are dead, or are they just paused? Is there any way to come back from this at this point in time? Have we essentially cut off relations with Russia?
Right. U.S.-Putin relations should be dead. And I think we are getting to that point. We should support the people of Russia. They've been living under Putin for 20-some years, and it has just only gotten worse and worse for them. They deserve to live in a country that has more freedom and democracy and prosperity and justice than they live in. So we should be fully aligned with the Russian people, but our relationship with Putin should be over.
And are you foreseeing maybe indirect or direct impacts on the Russian people? We've seen massive protests in many major Russian cities over this. The ruble fell the lowest in its history. The stock market in Russia fell by half today. This kind of is a harbinger for Putin, is it not? Should he be worried about his own country?
Yes, I think that this is where we are headed right now. These things happened in the shock of Russia's invasion yesterday. What we have to do is make these kind of impacts long-term, even increase them, and show Putin that this is going to affect his ability to rule inside Russia, not only his ability to wage war on Ukraine. So this should be our target, and we should be messaging that, mobilizing that, enhancing this for as much as we can do to try to get Putin to realize that this is self-destructive.
I want to just game out a few scenarios specifically regarding the capital city of Kyiv. Can you tell us what you have been in touch with, your contacts on the ground there in Ukraine? Are they preparing for some type of, urban warfare in the streets of Kyiv? Do you think that is a distinct possibility?
They are certainly preparing for everything. They're preparing immediately for new airstrikes and new missile strikes. And those will be principally against military targets, but you can't rule out Russia going after civilian targets as well. They're bringing forces in to protect the capital from other parts of the country. So they're preparing for tank battles and pushing back Russia as they try to approach the city. And then finally, yes, if it comes to that, they are preparing for fighting for the city itself.
Also, I wanted to kind of game out a scenario where in the worst case scenario, President Zelensky has to go into exile. The Ukrainian government, high-ranking officials have to go into exile. I know that is a very, defeatist attitude, but it's something that's being talked about. Who will take them in, and will the United States immediately recognize them as the de facto government, if you will?
Right. So this is also an excellent question. I have not heard an answer to this from the administration or from the European Union. Frankly, I'm glad, because we just saw the Pentagon come out today and say, oh, Kiev may fall within 96 hours. That is not the kind of messaging we want to be pushing out there now. We should be saying that we're impressed with how much the Ukrainians are fighting, and we will assist them. That's what I would like to hear, rather than, okay, the capital's going to fall. As far as a government, if Russia takes over all of Ukraine and imposes its own government, no one will recognize the legitimacy of that government. No one will recognize Russia's claims over this. And it would be entirely logical to recognize the continuity of Ukrainian government in exile. But we're not there yet. We should be helping the Ukrainians weather this and ultimately maintain their country.
Ambassador Volker, just final thoughts as we go into the weekend here.
Yeah, everyone should be prepared for the worst. Russia, I think, probed last night, a lot of airstrikes, a lot of missile strikes, trying to land paramilitary forces to take over air bases, mostly not succeeding, some succeeding. They're going to do it again, and they're going to do it again, and they're going to do it again. They're also, fighting on the front lines and trying to advance. They are succeeding in taking territory north of Crimea and east of Crimea. They're going to try to expand that footprint and they will continue to try to go to Kyiv. And so we should be viewing this as seriously as it can be viewed. This is a major effort to take over a sovereign European country. We should declare this unacceptable, and we should be doing everything we can to help the Ukrainians.
Ambassador Kurt Volkel, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, just one quick note at the top. Today, I think, as you all saw, following the NATO heads of state and government approval of defense plans, the NATO Supreme Allied Commander of Europe, General Walters, released a statement. I think you've all seen this, on the activation of the NATO response force. There's a historic nature to all this. This is the first time that the alliance has employed these high readiness forces in a deterrence and defense role. So it's not an insignificant move by the alliance. This activation serves as an additional notice or warning order, as you guys are familiar with, for the allies who contribute to the NATO response force. I'm not going to have specifics for you today on units, timelines, schedules, as NATO communicates what it's going to need from the United States, just like it will to other nations. And as they do that, we will certainly be able to acknowledge and announce those U.S. capabilities and units who will be going specifically as designated to support the NATO mission and the NATO response force. Now, as we've also announced previously, the department has placed a range of multi-mission units in the United States and Europe on a heightened preparedness to deploy, which increases our readiness to provide for the U.S. contributions to the NRF on a shorter tether than what we could do before. With today's activation notice by General Walters, we stand ready, if called upon by NATO, to support the NRF in the defense of the alliance, and we'll absolutely do that. And with that, we'll take questions. Bob.
Thank you, John. So two things on that point. President Biden just announced that he has ordered additional forces to Europe. And is that part of what you just described? And the second question is, so NATO has activated a portion of the the response force, and you can't say how many troops the U.S. will contribute to that because they haven't asked for any troops yet?
Yeah, so I think in the president's statement, I think he was referring to his announcement yesterday. This was a readout of his call with President Zelensky, and he was reiterating that in that conversation, he was pointing back to the announcement that he made yesterday. So I have no new announcements of force deployments to speak to today. Think about this activation a bit like you would an RFF, a request for forces, right? So it's now been activated, and so we'll be in direct consultations with NATO and General Walters in his sack your hat to work through what the requirements are going to be for the NATO response force and the very ready joint task force. And as I've said many times before, the Secretary is very, very committed to making sure that whatever those requirements are, that the United States is ready to lean forward as much as possible. Yesterday's announcement, the 7,000 that we talked about, as I also said yesterday, portions of them we can expect will be earmarked for the NATO response force. Again, after we've consulted with General Walters and NATO and we understand what they need, but one of the reasons why President Biden pushed them forward was so that they could be ready for just such a need. And we wanted to get the clock going to get them pre-positioned, if you will. So there's still some homework to be done, still some math that needs to be worked out. But again, the Secretary wanted to make sure, and the President obviously wants to make sure, that we're leaning as far forward as we can.
So it likely would be an armored brigade, among other things.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Again, we're gonna work closely with NATO and make sure that we fully understand what the requirements are from the United States perspective, and then we'll move forward. But a good chunk of the 7,000 we talked about yesterday, we believe will be earmarked for NATO contributions. Again, if it's deemed that they are needed, they're wanted, and they're ready. And if they aren't, well then they can be used unilaterally to support and reassure our allies. For the President and for the Secretary, this was very much about trying to lean forward. So I don't have any specifics to say today, specific units or timelines or schedules, but I want to point back to what we said all along, that the United States, we take this commitment very, very seriously, and we're going to lean in as much as we can. Okay? Idris?
part of criticism has been we're now 2 days into the invasion. This was seen coming, a couple of weeks ago. Why are there still such few details? And if the need is so urgent, they could roll in through Kiev in the coming days. Why not be able to give more details about what units are going where? Why aren't there, I guess, as many details?
I'm not sure what Russian operations in Kyiv has to do with the timing of how soon we can identify units. Idris, if I may, very politely, just challenge the premise here. We have been, the United States in particular, has been very forward-leaning in terms of reassuring allies. And with each muscle movement, we've been right up here talking about it and identifying them to the level of specificity that we can, as we did again yesterday. But the way the process works in NATO is you have to approve a defense plan first, and then the activation comes second. That happened today. The heads of state approved defense plans, which then gave General Walters as SACEUR the authorization he needed to authorize activation of the NRF, and then now it goes to the nations to fill those needs. But we have to be in consultation with NATO about what those needs are. Again, to my answer to Bob, it's not unlike a request for forces. It's just a different process, but it's the same idea. So I don't think that we're not waiting on any.
Yeah, Micah and Cher.